Welcome everybody to the Board of Commissioners meeting for June 27th. We seem awful loud in here. Is that turned up? Okay, well, let's all rise, please. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Once again, welcome everybody to the June 27th Board of Commissioners meeting. Roll call, please.
Gross.
Present.
Bear.
Present.
Ziegler.
Present.
Sykes.
Present.
Oben.
Present. Open meetings law is posted on the south side of our chambers. It is in the hallway outside of our chambers, also on the website. Proof of publication was in the News Times June 22nd, also on our website. Next, we need to review and approve the minutes of our June 13th Board of Commissioner meeting.
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Gross.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Ziegler.
Yes.
Bear.
Yes.
Oben.
Yes. Adopt today's agenda.
Move to adopt the agenda.
Thank you, Stan.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Bear.
Yes.
Ziegler.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
And Oben.
Yes. Officials forum. She beat you hard.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I was one row too far back.
Sit back and listen. Good morning.
Good morning, Lori Byers from York County Public Transit and York County Aging Services. Here with my Aging Services hat on today.
Okay.
I would like to introduce you to our new care manager, Christina Caping, sorry. And she started yesterday. We're very excited to have her, and I'll let her introduce herself real quick.
So my name is Christina Keeping, and I live here in York with my husband and my twin 5-month-old daughters, and I'm excited to be here. As far as working with old people, my parents are older, and
You gotta be careful.
I just have a big heart for all ages, let's put it that way. And so I'm looking forward to working with the community and being here.
Anything else, Lori?
Nope, just wanted to introduce her.
Second day on the job and already you're in front of the commissioners.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. Hopefully it goes well up there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
That's no biggie. Thank you. Good morning,
Good
everyone.
morning, Hart.
Good morning, Harvey.
Just a quick update on your projects. They poured the east abutment on the east bridge up on Road 20 yesterday. They have part of the pile grove that holds their false work up. So they will start working, putting the beams in, start forming the floor up, tying the metal. They probably won't be able to do that east span and for a week because the concrete has to cure out about that long. So I would not anticipate that deck getting poured until sometime after the 4th of July. Probably toward the end of that week would be my guesstimation when that deck would be ready to pour. Otherwise, we're down on Old 81 between McCool and Road 3 trying to fix an asphalt patch down there while we have asphalt available right here in the county. And then blading roads and hauling gravel. So kind of the same old stuff.
The other two projects, the boxes there, I see we have the final buildings in
Yes.
today's vendors, so they are completed
They are completed.
and everything else is going good. Okay.
So,
Anybody have any questions of Harv this morning?
cool.
Thanks, Harv.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, have a good one.
Any other officials? Nope. Megan must be visiting. Okay, we'll go into public comment section. At this time, anybody from the public would like to come forward and have some brief comments, they sure may do so.
Good morning.
Diana Johnson from Henderson, and I am here on behalf of myself and many others in York County. I'd like to address a concern that many folks have in York County, and that concern is the voting machine to count our votes. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Did we, the people, vote to have an election machine installed to count our votes in York County? If I'm correct, it was given to us. Our tax dollars go to the servicing of that machine. A machine with China parts. Anyone here trust China? Well, I don't. Was there a problem with hand counting? Not to my knowledge. When the Secretary of State Office Representative Wayne Benna publicly makes sput of those who have discovered election fraud, it makes you wonder why. What is his purpose for that? Usually when somebody does something like that, it's to make themselves look better and more important. We, the people, voted for voter ID. Secretary of State Bob Evnen leads the pack to water down the bill, so it's not what we voted for. It makes you wonder, why would he do that? We vote people into positions and trust them to do the right thing. I'll be the first to admit that that was me. I just thought everybody that I voted for was doing the right thing. And I am now awake, I'm not woke. And I'm finding our voices need to be heard. Many elected officials cannot be trusted due to the power and the money that they gain from their offices. And that's not you guys, you don't get money, not much. I'm asking you as our York County elected leaders to do the right thing. You can trust York County residents. You cannot trust China. Please add this to your next meeting agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Anybody else from the public this morning? Okay, keep moving on. So we do have kind of a lengthy one today. There is no general assistance cases, no reason to go into executive session. So next up would be payroll and vendor claims. And then we do have 2 additional claims also to add to that. We have a claim from Woods and Aiken for $1,548. And that would be for, they come out and did some interviews with some employees. And they do that from time to time. They take care of our personal matters. And then the other additional claim we have is to NERMA, our property and casualty. That is for $7,500, and that is to take care of a deductible. We have been in a lawsuit, as we find ourselves in many times, and NERMA takes care of it, and we have a deductible to meet when they take care of that stuff there. So that is those 2 additional claims. They will come out of miscellaneous at the end of the budget year here. Actually, the reason they're additional is because we wasn't sure if we was going to have enough money in the line item to pay until next year or not, and we ended up having enough left over to do it and get it taken care of. Did anybody see anything else that they have questions on the vendor and payroll claims?
I just saw the Platte County, we probably have prisoners there.
We do. That number fluctuates. Seems to me that there was 4 or 5 up there.
Wow.
Yeah, we pay $55, I believe, a day to house people up there. We still have a large housing issue.
Yeah.
You know, we can comfortably keep around 30.
Right.
You know, we can uncomfortably keep more than that. But it seems like when you do that, then you just ask for more problems too.
So the total we have incarcerated would be what?
It fluctuates up and down. I don't know if Gary knows right now.
It's probably about 42
Okay.
within 3 or 4. I believe
It
it is.
changes by the day sometimes.
It does. It does. I think we were down into the low 20s at one time.
Wow.
Then we went into the 50s. So I think, but it fluctuates greatly.
The all-time high was maybe pushing 70 at one time.
That is correct.
Last year, and we've come off of that where we had bills from not only Platte County, but Butler County,
Right.
Seward County, Hall County. That is one of the reasons that budget will be addressed later in today's meeting for transfers. Any other questions?
Motion to approve the payroll and vendor claims with the addition of the two added ones that you just read out.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Sykes,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
and Obermeyer.
Yes. Okay, there is no, well, we'll have some transfers through the transfer of budget authority. But we do enter into the time period in our budget where we got a couple months here that we have a new budget coming, but it's not approved yet. And, you know, we get pretty skinny with tax collections not until the 1st of September. So we ask everybody to pay attention to that as we move forward. Next on the agenda is discuss and act on a transfer in the amount of $816,000, $822.50. And this is our bond highway allocation fund is $760,000 for the payment. And if you do the quick math, the remainder of that is interest, $56,822.50. So this is something that we put on. We don't pay till the treasurer does the transfer after the 1st of the month. But we do need to approve this expenditure.
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Gross,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Obermeyer.
Yes. Next up, Bob. Are you ready?
Sure.
Discuss and act on reappointing Sally Rubin to the Visitors Bureau Committee.
Bob Sauter, York County Visitors Bureau Director. We would like to request to reappoint Sally Rubin for one last term, which would start now for 4 years.
Sally's been on it for
She's been on it for a while.
a number of years.
Right.
She's been the head of it now for a number of years since I've been sitting on that board, or the past 8 years. She does a good job of directing it, so we as a board, the visitors board, unanimously agreed that we'd love to have her stay. And somebody that makes all the meetings and is always there at 7 o'clock is just nice to see.
And a strong advocate for York, and always has been.
Definitely.
Do you need a motion or a resolution?
It's a resolution.
So we need to move to adopt a resolution reappointing Sally Rubin to the Visitors Bureau Committee today or July 1st, or when does it?
Whenever you would like to make that resolution for her.
I think we
So-
had June as her last, like June 27th as her last time. So you can do
Okay.
today.
So for a 4-year term beginning 6/27/2023.
Thank you, Daniel.
Second.
Thank you, Jack. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Gross,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
and Obermeyer.
Yes. Yeah, Bob, did you have anything else today?
No.
Good.
Your term is also up.
Good.
So, yes.
Well, I would assume.
Okay.
I was appointed for the year. I didn't realize we, as the appointees from the commissioners, had terms too. Okay,
Well,
does that need to be an agenda item then?
probably.
Yep, next time. Kelly. Thanks, Bob.
Combination of that.
Way to remind me.
Thank you.
Have a great day, Bob.
You too.
Okay, next up is discuss and act on Region 5 agreement for EPC services between Region 5 and York County. Any questions regarding this?
Am I drawing a blank and, I mean, have we signed this agreement in the past?
Yes, we have.
Okay. I figured we had, I just
Yes,
didn't
we
have a
have.
recollection of it.
It looks like all the commissioners have to sign it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just gonna. One it before us last month,
No, last year.
last year.
The sheriff's office isn't.
They gave us an update last week, or last meeting, right?
They were probably requesting, budget money.
There it is. I was gonna say the fee is in, on page 1. It's $214 per individual per day.
That, you can see that, did you?
Emergency protected custody. I make a motion we approve.
Thank you, Jack.
Second?
Thank you, Daniel. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Sykes,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
and Pepper.
Yes. Okay, moving on down. Discuss and act. We do have 10 minutes here before the first one at 9 o'clock. Discuss and act on planning and zoning position. Daniel and myself did meet with Nate Hines, which is in the room, along with his boss. And we would recommend that we would enter into an agreement with Nate to provide these services. Nate, if you want to come forward, that'd be great. I guess Gary, if you want to accompany him, you sure can too. Daniel, my thoughts was that this is something that we're doing a little bit different this time. And we have contracts with a lot of different people for different things. And we was wondering about possibly entering into that with Nate, paying everything out of planning and zoning instead of the way we used to do it, that we would just have everything under one budget, because we're going to have obviously a much bigger budget this year. We're talking about a comp plan coming up that we're going to have to deal with that. Obviously, I think we're getting close to another meeting with the zoning board, so that budget, and then there would be some training that undoubtedly you would want to take part of. So we were talking about possibly doing some kind of just small contractual agreement between county commissioners and Nate. Everybody's on board with that. Chris was going to do this till the end of the budget year, which is rapidly approaching at the end of the month. And then after that, I had conversations with him last week, and he said that even though he was not going to be compensated anymore, he would sure be somebody you could lean on for help, definitely during a transition period. And we also know others in the close proximity. Mr. Stewart, Hamilton County, has agreed to that, and different ones have agreed to sure help, with where they can. So that would be our recommendation. Do you have anything else to comment about?
Yeah, I think you touched on what we had talked about, and we had a good conversation, and I think we have a good idea on how we're gonna move forward. Nate was on board with that, and so yeah, I think we're ready to enter into that agreement.
Anybody else have any comments, questions for Nate while he's sitting up here? This would be compensated at the same rate that we talked about with the old 20,000 on an annual basis.
Yep.
To be divided out between all the pay periods, however they figure out. Nate admits that he doesn't know much about it, and that's great that he wants to learn. I mean, I think it'll be a plus.
I agree.
For the county. Gary, do you have any comments while we got you up front here too?
Just, Nate's been in my office for going on 4 months now. And there have been certain tasks that he's been assigned to that are complicated, legally complicated. And not only does he take them by the horn, I mean, the results have been fantastic. And for my position, it's been so great to be able to take these tasks to another individual and not be ask, how do I do this? How do I finish it? I mean, he takes it and finishes it. For me is fantastic, and I think you will experience the same type of professionalism that I have. And I think it's a great opportunity for the county to have him on board with this particular position.
Nate is a busy man. Not only does he serves as our deputy, but he also serves that same capacity up in Polk County.
Correct.
And now we'll have this too. So good thing he's young. And sleep's optional apparently.
But I remember I told you guys too when we met too, and I've talked with Gary and Chris, and they both said should need be, we can work where zoning won't be becoming the main priority. Should it need to, these guys will take some things if it gets a little overwhelmed. So that's already in the works too. So any concern for that, I'd like to think we can alleviate within our office.
And obviously work with this board through any zoning matters whatsoever. We want to help, get the training that you need and different things. So we'll be working on that budget as we proceed forward. So Gary, and that being said, I would like to, at this morning's meeting, approve, if we would, and then approve the chairman to sign this contract yet before the end of the week. If between the two of us, if we can come up with something, I'll float it back around to make everybody sees it. But then if we come up with something, we have to take care of that. Okay.
I would make a motion that we approve the chairman to sign a contractual agreement with Nate Hines to perform planning and the function of the planning and zoning administrator for York County.
Thank you, Daniel. It's a mouthful.
It is.
Second.
Thank
We
you.
tripped a couple.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Gross.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Ziegler.
Yes.
Bear.
Yes.
Overmeyer.
Yes. Thank you, guys. Gary, I don't know what your schedule's like this week, but mine's a little bit crazy, so let's try to touch base maybe later today if we can.
Perfect.
And then just see where we go, what we want.
I'll stop over.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Nate.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got a few minutes and Lisa's not here yet, so let's jump down to discuss an act on transfer, and this would be a transfer from 2913, and this is our wireless money, or I'm sorry. Yes, this is the wireless money, 2913, and we spend so much and then we have to set so much aside, and that amount that goes into 2914 is that the right amount that I'm looking at here? $45,041.39, and this is something that Leila takes care of for us, and so we just have to transfer that money before the end of the budget year.
I so move.
Thank you, Woody.
Second.
Thank you, Jack. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Ziegler.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Bear.
Yes.
Overmeyer.
Yes. You're cruising along better than I expected
I
this
know.
morning. Do you have the resolutions for the transfers?
Oh, I didn't print them all.
Okay, next up, transfer budget authority. Is that on this sheets here or not?
I can read that one.
Yeah, so I explain it right, because I've got my numbers written down.
No, my computer doesn't. I
Okay.
have this one from last year.
Let's do it this way. Okay. There was a few budgets that ended up being a little bit in trouble. 622, which is county court, that ended up needing to transfer $37,000 to cover shortfall in that, and mainly that is because of hiring public vendors. So that's county court. So we need to transfer $37,000 on that, and these are all done by resolution. And I would ask that we transfer in 980, which is our courthouse fund. That is for fixing stuff We haven't done that for a while, but that's 980 that's one that's controlled by Cal, which is controlled by the commissioners. I would ask that 37,000 come out of 980 to cover the 622. Next up is 631, so that's child support in district court. It ended up being 3,000, right at $3,000 short, just a little less. These are all going to be up just in case of mathematical error. And that is done by the district court, which is Sherilyn Stubbe's budgets. So I would ask that in her budget, which is 621, and there's plenty of room in her budget, that we transfer that 3,000 from 621 to 631. Next up is 652, which is Gary's county attorney budget. And that is because of the way we were paying Nate as a deputy. Nate's was actually budgeted out of 652, out of 662, which is child support controlled by the county attorney. So that budget has got plenty in there. It needs 30,000 transferred from 662 to 652. Right. And that should clear those two budgets up. And then last but not least is the one we talked about earlier, and that's 671, so that's corrections, our jail. And I'm asking that $44,000 be transferred from 641, which is building and grounds, and to cover the jail. And most of that 44,000 is in outside housing that we fell short on. So those are the four that we need to transfer budget authority on to get these budgets back into shape. And so you guys know also that when we do that, we'll go through and we'll revise the budgets. So there'll be, for instance, in the two that Gary controls, his budgets will look different now because we're taking the authority away from one, giving it to the other one. So, and we'll do all that before the end of the year.
All of a sudden, one that looks like it spent 5% will look like it spent 85%. The other one.
Yep. So then when we're planning for next year's budgets, got to bear in mind that we took authority away from some, gave it to others, and that all plays into the budget process. And those four will need to be done by resolution.
I did them separate,
Okay,
yeah, so if you can do them separate, that'd be great.
okay, all right. So,
Do you want me to go through them one at a time? So let's take the county court one.
Yep.
So
622.
I'll make a motion that we enter into a resolution. You wanna read what the resolution's gonna say?
Okay, it'll be to transfer 37,000 from 980 to 622.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Brooks,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Overmeyer.
Yes. Okay, the next one up will be child support district court. So we will be transferring from 621, $3,000 to 631.
I would make a motion that we enter into such a resolution.
Thank you, Daniel.
Second.
Thank you, Woody. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Brooks,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Overmeyer.
Yes. Next one up will be the county attorney, so we need to transfer $30,000 from 662 to 652.
Make a motion that we adopt a resolution stating such.
Thank you, Daniel.
Second.
Thank you, Stan. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Brooks,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Overmeyer.
Yes, and the last one is we need to transfer $44,000 from 641 to 671.
And I would make a motion that we adopt a resolution stating such.
Thank you, Daniel.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Brooks,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Overmeyer.
Yes. I assure you, for some that if it doesn't make any sense, it does make sense. And I was sitting in those seats years ago when we were doing it thinking, what are we doing? But it gets very confusing, but obviously we have to do it before the end. And doing it this way versus opening up the budget again. That's why it's kind of nice to have some funds that have that little extra room in it, because there are things that are unexpectedly come up that we have no control over. So, okay, at this time it's 9 o'clock. I believe I've seen Lisa walk. Yeah, she's right in front. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, I'm Lisa Hurley with York County Development Corporation, and this is Emily Perry, our Development Coordinator. Our address is 601 North Lincoln Avenue, York. First, I would like to thank the county for your continued support over the years. We are here today to request $82,000, which is the same amount as last year. I would like to do an overview of what's happening and how the activities tie back to our strategic plan. Before I do that, however, I want to share, in May I hit 10 years with YCDC. And in that time, YCDC has been involved with approximately $195 million in investment in the county. That's resulted in 290 jobs either retained or created. And I'm very proud of our team with those figures. It's been a good investment in the county, and I think it shows a good return on investment for all of our funders and for our business and our citizens in the county. I do lead YCDC with a very holistic approach to economic development. It cannot be just one item. It has to be all jobs, housing, everything. That's a really development. If we don't have beds, if we don't have childcare seats, if we don't have attractive communities and parks that citizens want to live in, we're not going to be able to grow from an economic development mindset. So I do lead from that holistic and collaborative mindset. And as we go forward with the report, I think you will see that. In our 2021 to 2025 YCDC strategic plan, we have 5 primary goals centered around people, business, housing, infrastructure, and the YCDC organization itself. We'll start with our number 1 goal, people, is continue to develop, retain, and recruit talent to help meet York County's businesses' workforce needs. This is our top goal because in order to meet both the businesses, and this includes you as an employer, current and future workforce needs, we have to recruit talent. We have to develop who we are, help people step up as technology changes. That has to be a primary focus for our community and for YCDC. A few things that we are doing is a national talent ad that follows the York News Times outside of Nebraska. So if an alumni from one of our schools in Chicago is looking at an article that ties to one of their schoolmates, they're going to see our Y York County ads, directing back to our Y York County page on our website. We've been doing that since third quarter of 2021. It's one of our major marketing expenses that we do. We do the Y York County videos. I know several of you have seen the one that featured Daniel, and we do the 17 county podcast. Emily knows these stats better than I do because she's taken over doing the podcast, but we have released 80 episodes, and it has had over 20,000 downloads, and it's been in many, many nations, over 20 nations it's been downloaded in. We are in the 3rd year of the 17 county leadership program, and we are accepting applications now. So if you have any county employees that would benefit from leadership development, it will be happening this fall. And Emily's the contact on that. We're switching it, and it's going to be based on the Better Culture program now. We continue to evaluate our programs and adjust from year to year based on feedback. We have continued the ESI camp, and our young businesses will be selling set out through downtown on Balloon Days on July 15th. Our 2022 Child Care Gap Study identified 317 spots needed according to First 5 Nebraska. We have made headway. The 2020 survey they did showed 359 spots needed. This is a big part of our workforce challenge because if a young parent cannot find a spot for their children, it's just difficult for them to have a job. So our goals with this, we've done surveys. We've done probably 2 or 3 over the last 5 years. Our goals is to help start in-home childcare, help expand existing childcare facilities, and to look at the feasibility of a larger childcare center. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but we have committees that are looking at all aspects of this, from helping people start to helping people grow to starting a larger one. As part of this, we are involved in the York County Child Care Alliance, the York County Child Care Task Force, and we have a York County Business Committee that's looking at from the business standpoint. So we're trying to hit that holistic viewpoint from the child care providers to the parents to the businesses. What does the county need? We hold the York Regional Career Day. This was our 9th year holding it, where we have 8 to 12 schools participating from up to 4 counties. So those are students that are coming in for a full day of speakers from York County, other than the keynote speaker. Usually we bring a keynote in from outside, but we had about 30 businesses lined up on the panel, so it's great exposure for our businesses and it's great exposure for our youth on the opportunities that are available right here. Whether it's right after high school or they leave for college, the military, and then want to come back down the road. We continue our manufacturing tours where we take community leaders, counselors, school board leaders, YCDC board leaders. I believe I usually send an invitation to you guys. If you ever want to join us, it's typically the first Friday of October. We get into 2 to 3 of our industries throughout the county. We are assisting with quality of life initiatives under our overall people talent goal. We assisted with the Peyton Parker Lane Playground, and we've had many conversations with community clubs and village and city clerks about funding for different, whether it's pavilions or it's playground or whatever, community science. We try to provide guidance. We can't do it, but we try to provide guidance on where to start to find some funding. And then business, one of our goals is always ensure there is always controlled industrial land for expansion and recruitment possibilities. All of our controlled sites are sold, and we're working with the committee to address this now. And we've sold out 2 industrial parks over the years, which is fantastic, but it does put us in a bit of a bind right now. But we're addressing that. We also market available sites and buildings throughout the county on our website, no matter who they're listed with. If it's an industrial lot, an industrial building, we want it out there that it's available, and we pull the realtor into the conversation. We work really hard to continue providing technical assistance to entrepreneurs, startups, expanding and transitioning businesses. In November of 21, we released Size Up York County Small Business Insights. The tool helps entrepreneurs or small businesses measure themselves against their competitors, measure their performance, identify customers, suppliers, competitors, and marketing opportunities, and gives them any and all demographics they need for their business plan, whether they're looking at starting or looking at adding. It covers about 99.9% of industries. So really this tool helps every single business in the county. Pulled a report yesterday. In the last 12 months, we've had 364 people, businesses, working with this tool, which to me, that shows good return on investment for YCDC's investment for this tool. Now, in the last few months, we've also drastically changed our business resource directory page. Our goal is to make it more usable and to provide more connections and more resources to the business community. In the past year, we've assisted Coody Inc. and I'm just going to say yet to be announced startup business to receive site and building development funds from the Department of Economic Development. This will bring in about $275,000 with the projects, and both businesses are out in the county. They're not in any particular city or village jurisdiction. We've been able to assist 2 small businesses in the last year with funds that were donated to us specifically for business growth. So one of them was a daycare we were able to help with to access SENS revolving loan fund. So that's just an example of one. Our operating budget does not do that, but we had a family that made a donation because we had helped their business out. So it's kind of cool to see that full circle come around where we were able to pass on. We continue to be very involved in a regional manufacturing group that several York County employees are engaged in. This group goes back to 2017. It changed over COVID, and now it looks like it's coming back to a smaller one. Most recently, it's been full Southeast Nebraska. It started as Seward, York, Bayer County. And we have a meeting this afternoon. I think we may be splitting Southeast up into smaller groups again. And then YCDC is one of the organizations hosting the Nebraska Pork Expo on July 17th. It's out at the Holthus Convention Center. We'd love to see some of you there. There will be a panel on the Farm Bill. There will be Governor Poen's our keynote speaker. There's a veterinary panel. There's just a lot of education and a lot of networking opportunities. You can register on AFAN's website. We're linked on our Facebook page. So on our housing goal, some of you have heard this before, but our May 2021 housing study update showed that we still had a gap of 542 units needed by 2030. We would like to invite you to a housing meeting on July 27th. That's at 3:30 or 4. Emily will be sending information out on it. And that's open to general public, whoever wants to attend. We have provided guidance and technical assistance to several of the York County communities and have worked with developers and contractors to attract housing development in the county. In May, we did receive a $1 million award for the Rural Workforce Housing Fund, and we're working with the developer to move forward on that. Infrastructure is another goal, support large-scale infrastructure projects within York County and those that impact York County. One of the reasons that's in our strategic plan is because of the completion of Highway 81, the expressway. We have the county helped do economic impact study. I don't remember what year it was, Randy.
It's been a few.
It's probably been 5.
Could be.
5 or 6. I have continued to advocate down in Lincoln. Let's get this done. We made some headway this year. The bonding bill passed specifically to allow the completion of the expressways, original expressway corridors, which 81 is in. There were so many changes with all the bills, even up to the morning of the final day. I'm not going to even attempt to come with a timeline. I don't know what it means for the Norfolk to Yankton stretch, but I have my fingers crossed, and we're trying to get with Director Kramer get her here to talk at some point and get more of an idea about it. So organization structure and reputation, that's very important to us. 10 years ago, I believe, Randy, you'll back me up on this, YCDC did not have the reputation it does today. We have worked very, very hard to become a positive force for the county. And in order to do that, we have to keep an eye on the structure of the organization. Spending the money wisely, continuing to look for efficiencies, partnerships, collaborations. We did, in probably about a year ago, update our personnel manual. We worked with an attorney that's, their firm had an arm that specialized in labor law. There was a lot of changes, as you know, after COVID affecting labor law, and I wanted to make sure we were covered as an organization and we were treating our staff the way we needed to be. We are now looking at CRMs and other software on an effort to better track our projects, the project management and our contacts. We have hundreds of contacts, and right now we'll have 4 computers end of January or July that we are trying to keep contacts up to date on. So we're pretty excited that we are adding a new part-time staff member beginning July 17th. Very excited to be bringing Anthony on board, the business community and housing, and now with childcare in the mix. We're just a busy organization. We do continue, I mentioned legislation. We continue to be on the legislation committees. I'm on the Nebraska Economic Developers. Emily has joined a childcare one because all those changes impact what we're able to do as a county. And we continue to hold regularly scheduled traveling offices in Benedict, Bradshaw, Gresham, Henderson, McCool Junction, and Waco. So that was a lot of information. But what questions do you guys have? We're busy.
Of those 7 new businesses, where did they relocate at? In York or Henderson or Bradshaw or where?
The 7.
You have 7 new businesses moved to York County.
Hold on, let me find my.
So, and this is the first paragraph or second. You stated where 7 new businesses moved to York County, and I was curious.
We've had more than 7 new businesses.
I
have to say, Stan, I probably didn't follow my script. I probably got.
Well, where do you know? How many were in Henderson? How many were in Bradshaw? How many were in York?
I've worked with the cafe twice in Henderson.
Okay.
To get new owners for that. I'm working with a startup over there right now. Preferred Snacks, which is under Preferred Popcorn, who's now underneath someone else.
Yeah, where's that located at?
That is in Waco.
Okay.
We've worked with a couple in Bradshaw. A lot of times the smaller ones we're helping them strengthen work. Okay. We're providing connections. But we have worked with businesses in every community. We're working through a brownfield process with a Gresham business right now, which we're hoping to get federal assistance to remove asbestos from. We took them through we received a technical assistance grant for them to do the identification of potential hazards. I think Emily's learned more about asbestos and lead-based paint and soil contamination than she ever wanted to learn. But we're working with them to, let's get to the demolition phase. And that is a new business that bought the adjacent building, and we're trying to deal with the adjacent building for their future goals. A lot of it's been expansion. Clutie has been expansion. The startup that is getting site and building is in the southeast part of town. They're not town, the county, southeast part of the county. There's another one down there a little bit more to the west. It was a startup that we provided assistance through. They didn't receive any funding, they didn't need it, they just needed guidance. I'm working with one in McCool right now. So I don't know where I don't know what I was talking about specifically when I said 7, because I got off of my script, which is dangerous for me to do, Stan. But we do serve the county. And the traveling offices, I wonder if that's where I got 7, the traveling offices, we go out minimum of once a month to make sure we have a good relationship and we know about the project, so we can say, hey, why don't you get a hold of Sand, because they can help with the grant application for that. So sometimes it's just connections that we're making for our communities.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Daniel is the one that sits on that board for us, and I assume has been active.
He has.
And which is good. I used to sit on that board, and up until 2 years ago, maybe when you come on board. So I know that, you know, sometimes we wonder, because it's a board, you can't really talk about the money you give and different things, but we do see some action going on. York County has been a partner with it for many years. We have kept our funding at the same level, but I think the one comment I'd like to make, since when I first came on the Board of Commissioners 8 years ago and was part of it, the membership, the private membership, the businesses throughout the community, that's where it's really expanded.
Yes.
And that, to me, is a testament to how well it's going, because if it wasn't going well, you wouldn't be getting membership expansion. And I'm not sure where that sits right now, but I know at one time it was at an all-time high.
It is we're sitting about 130,000, over 130,000 committed for this calendar year, because we run on the calendar year where you guys run on your fiscal, Jeffrey. When I started, we had, I want to say about 80 business members at about 52,000 in private funding. We now have grown that to over 200 investors. Some of those we have a couple of families that put in a small amount because they firmly believe they want the county to be a community that their grandchildren or their children want to come back to. That's not a big thing we talk about, but we do have a few private investors. And then the businesses, we've seen massive growth, as Randy said, and it's really awesome because, you know, they're investing with YCDC and the government partners in the growth of the county. And they're seeing that with people moving in. We have so many people moving in, we can't even find them housing. I just got a text from one of our employers this morning. She has no employee. She can't find a house for his family. We had one of our manufacturers, and here I am off my script again, Stan. A couple months ago had hired somebody from out of state, and they had delayed her start date by 2 months because she couldn't find housing, and it was a good position. But there was even an apartment open, so.
Any other questions or comments? I know, Lisa, that as Daniel and I work through the budgets to present to the commissioners, we were probably, and he should have access to it, but we're asking for budgets.
He has it.
And to look at, just not to critique them, but it's just a good idea, especially when we're given, you know, 82,000, you know, to this. Yeah. So he has that.
Right.
Anything else, guys? Final
Thanks.
Comments? Lisa?
Just again, thank you. YCDC, we may be a 501c6, a separate organization, but we cannot do this without our partners and our collaborators. I mean, Daniel will say, I probably pester him a little too much sometimes, and all of my exec members would probably say that. But we have a fabulous board, and I really enjoy seeing the commissioners when you guys come to our events. So any of them you want to come to in the next year, just let us know.
While you do have a couple minutes yet, we know Daniel sits there. Who is on the executive board currently?
Eric Montgomery is our president.
Okay.
Jane Jensen is our vice president. Tammy Batt with Corteva is our secretary. Zach Hollick is our treasurer. Jeff Hunholt with Black Hills Energy is our assistant secretary. And then Daniel and Dr. Crawford.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, there's nothing else.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. You guys
Thank
have
you.
a wonderful day.
You too. Okay, we got just a couple minutes yet, before Blue Valley. But by the time you make your way forward, you'll be fine. Come on up, ladies. Do you need one more chair? Just pull one up if you want
She
to.
prefers to sit behind us.
She does? She don't want to talk?
Yeah, I think that might be the case.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, you've been here before, but
Yes.
name and address if you would, when you get started.
Good.
My name is Sherry Weber, SHARIWEBER, Blue Valley Community Action, which is 620 5th Street. Our administrative office is in Fairbury, Nebraska. I'd like to thank you for allowing us to come spend some time with you this morning. I have Kelsey Peterson, who is our Family Development Coordinator, and she oversees York County and Polk County. And then Heather Lytle, who is our Administrative Director that helps put these documents together. I have a couple different documents that I'm going to share with you today. I'll probably be talking about them kind of interchangeably, so kind of going back and forth. But before we get into those, I just like to remind you that Blue Valley serves 9 counties in southeast Nebraska, and then we have limited services in an additional 15 counties. So we cover a pretty wide area. We provide comprehensive services, so when a client comes in for services, usually they're looking for one particular service, whether it be getting their child in a childhood program, looking for a food pantry. But through that process, we do an intake with them and have conversations and try to build that relationship and determine what other needs they may have. Our goal really is to stabilize their situation. If they're coming to us looking for food, they're probably also having some other issues and challenges. So we try to build that relationship, enroll them in as many programs as we can to stabilize their situation, and then help them set long-term goals so that they can become self-sufficient and not reliant on services. Poverty looks different for each individual. Some individuals need help one time. Some individuals need help maybe for 18 months, 2 years, even up to 3 years, just depending on their situation. So we really do try to connect them, not only internally to services, but also externally if there's other services out there. This first form here is our impact report, and this covers information on all clients that Blue Valley served last year. And you can see we had a little over 7,000 clients that we served. So poverty is still remaining in our communities. It kind of gives you the breakdown. Almost half of those are children. So that would be children ages 17 and under. We just were shy of 3,000 adults and just shy of 1,000 elderly individuals. So that'd be people 65 and older. You also see that we had 4,000, a little over 4,000 individuals enroll in goal setting programs. So that means working with a case manager such as Kelsey. Our Head Start program has family advocates, so they work along with those families to help them sometimes even figure out what their goals are and how to set them, what steps it's going to take to help them reach those goals. And you'll see that we had 3,820 individuals achieve one or more goals. So that's roughly 93% of the individuals we're working with made improvements, reach those goals that they were trying to go for. This other form here, this little document, the front page has information specifically to York County. And then Blue Valley also just completed our community needs assessment. We partnered with Public Health Solutions because so many agencies have to do needs assessments also. So we tried something different. We've never done that before. We partnered together to complete the community needs assessment. It was a pretty successful endeavor for us, and I'm hoping to maybe in the next 3 years include Four Corners Health Department, see if the three of us could all partner together, save some money, because we're asking the same questions, looking for those needs. But through the needs assessments, I have some information about the needs assessment to share with you also. York County's population is 14,263, and of the poverty rate is 8.6%, which is about roughly 1,200 individuals. Last year, Blue Valley was actually able to reach out to 1,114 individuals and assist them. So that's almost 91%. So we did a pretty good job actually being able to reach those in the community that needed help. Of those, 546 received emergency services. So they came in to Kelsey looking for one thing in particular. It could have been, help with rent, utilities, food pantries, hygiene products, diapers, whatever that situation may be. But that's almost half of those that are suffering that are looking for those emergency services. Housing, we are finding that there's an increase in homelessness. Over the past 2 years, Blue Valley has had more individuals coming to us needing help. Now they may be staying with a friend, they may be living in their car. We're starting to see more of that. We had funds specifically set aside with CARES funding to help with that. So I think the last 2 years, those numbers did go up because we had funds specifically for that. Those funds have now gone away, but we are still seeing a number of homeless people coming in. And last year, in 2021, York County had 10 individuals that were homeless. And this past year, Kelsey would have helped 26 individuals. So we are unfortunately seeing an increase, and I don't know if you have anything to add to that or what.
Well, that was one of the things I was going to mention. One of our biggest issues, not only the fact that we are seeing such an increase in homelessness within the county, I feel like finding housing for those folks is getting harder and harder. We have a homeless coordinator that works out of this office. She serves all 9 of our counties. She constantly has a fairly extensive wait list. I think right now she's got about 12 or 15 families or individuals on her list that are homelessness looking for housing. Granted, that's not just York County, that's the 9 counties that are waiting for housing, but it's not available. We really have to jump when we do find one, and finding one that's affordable makes that even more complicated. So that's a barrier that we're experiencing right now, is trying to find housing for those folks once they do come in and reach out for assistance. We can't give them something that isn't there. So we're having a hard time with that right now.
And some of the housing, they have to pass a certain standard, so
Right.
they can't we don't want to just put them in any house. We make sure it's a safe environment, so that's.
And make sure it's affordable for them in the long term, because our programs aren't super long term. I mean, max amount is usually 6 months. We prefer to stay around the 3-month realm. 3 months in affordable in housing, if they can't afford it going forward, doesn't really get them any further. So we try to make sure that that's something that's going to be affordable for them going forward.
And then we're also seeing an increase in food insecurity. During COVID, we actually had a lot of other food resources, so we had less people coming to us during that time, which seems a little strange. But a lot of those food resources are no longer available, so we are seeing an increase in people coming looking for food. And our community needs assessment showed that 20.7% of low-income individuals in York County are food insecure. So that's like 300 people. And we served 435 just coming in for our food emergency food baskets. So we're definitely seeing an increase in that. We have 67 seniors enrolled in our supplemental food program. So our commodities program is one that was cut in half, the funding about 2 or 3 years ago. But we as an agency felt like it was a much needed program. So that program provides food baskets to elderly individuals, allowing them to be able to stay in their home. We feel like that helps cut back on the cost for them. And we just have taken it on to try to find other funding sources so that we can continue that program. But I don't know if you have anything with the food insecurity. I've seen more of it.
We are. It seems to grow every single month, especially during the summer. That grows quite a bit. Kids aren't in school, aren't getting their lunches through school or breakfast in some instances. Families are having a lot harder time where they maybe can squeak by during the school year when they're getting some of that supplemented through school food. During the summer, that increases quite a bit. We thankfully we're very lucky the past couple of months between the postal food drive that we had here, Mother's Day weekend, and then we just did Can Caravan. That will get us a ways. Meat is still the biggest issue for us just because it is so expensive. Getting that for folks is pretty tricky. We've been able to supplement with some canned meat options, be able to get that protein that way. It keeps growing. Food Stamps is starting to pull back. Again, make some more changes within their programs. So we're kind of anticipating seeing more of an increase there as well.
You'll also notice that we do the Walmart Feeding America program, which that does not have any income guidelines, but we had 57,247 pounds of food distributed in York County. So that's our largest. We do Feeding America in a couple of our other counties, but this is by far the largest county for that. And there's, like I said, no income guidelines. They don't have to fill out any forms, so that could be not just low-income people coming in for that service. That could be people that are not under the guidelines.
That one's pretty popular for a lot of people that are just over that income guideline for a lot of other mainstream programs. That one's pretty popular for them because there's no income guidelines. The only thing that they have to report is how many people are in the house. And that's just so that we can keep records of how many people that food benefits. But other than that, it's sat out on the table and it stays there all day. Come in at 9:30 when we get it, come at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it doesn't matter. If there's some left, they're welcome to take it. So that is a very, very popular program. We're really lucky to have that.
On the back side of this page, you will see our funding revenues. Blue Valley has federal, state, local, and private funding. Our Blue Valley was able to secure about $1 million more last year. Some of that was, again, CARES funding, so that will probably be going down a little bit. We have some new grants coming in, so it might offset it. But I want to note that you'll see for every dollar we receive, 88 cents goes back into our client services. So we try really hard to make sure that the funding that we receive, whether that be federal, state, local, that is going back to serving our clients. And then we try to also keep that in our communities by shopping within our communities for items for our clients. You'll also see the breakdown of our expenditures by services, so you can kind of see how our funds are allocated to provide services to families. We had 188 employees last year. We're thankfully, the past couple years have had some troubles filling vacancies, but we're starting to get people coming back, applying for jobs and actually wanting to work. So we're excited about that. But we have 28 employees here in York County. The inside of this is the demographic information about our clients that we serve. And I just want to point out that you will see 32% of our clients are that we assist are either disabled or caregivers. And often people think, both parents should be out there working. Well, in York County, 22.1% of household income goes into paying for childcare costs. So that is a challenge that our families are having. A lot of times they just choose to have one parent stay home because the cost of childcare is so expensive. So that, we work with them over time to try to find affordable care for their children, but that is a definite challenge that we're facing in all of our communities. 64% of our clients are at or below 100% poverty level. And just to give that perspective to you, that means a family of 4 can only earn $30,000 annually. So you think about trying to pay for your home, your rent, utilities, your groceries, and that's very challenging. So that's where we provide those additional services to help support them. On the back page is a success story, and this is actually of an individual that lives in Gage County, and they're in the Project First program. But this individual was in prison for drug charges, had lost custody of her children, was fortunate enough that her grandmother was able to care for them. But through our program, when she got out of jail, she was working in Lincoln at a manufacturer that bought a factory in Beatrice, and she was able to get a job transferred to Beatrice. We were able to help assist her get a apartment to live in. We were able to pay the rent, utilities, and have the lease in our name. And then the goal of that program is to work with her to make strides so that she can earn the respect of the landlord, I guess, for one thing, to be able to, so she's a good tenant and be able to take over that lease in time. And we're in that process right now of transitioning her to have the lease in her name. She's sober and she's got her children back, and has actually, her probation period has been reduced because of her behaviors that she's had since she's gotten out. Then the other thing I have is our brochure on our housing counseling program. And this is a program that does not have any income guidelines, no age requirements. We have certified housing counselors, and we are actually able to serve anybody throughout the state of Nebraska. We can help them if they're a first-time home buyer, if they are at risk of losing or having foreclosure of their home, if they're interested in learning more about reverse mortgages, if they're just interested in learning about the home buying process.Maybe they have poor credit, or maybe they have a lot of debt, and so our counselor can work with them to bring that debt down and help them for going through the foreclosure process. We can do that. Initially, we try to do a one-on-one meeting if they're local, and to build that relationship, and then after that, it can be done through phone calls, emails, text messages, however that person would like to have that support. Our numbers, this is a federal brochure. Our number's not listed on here, but if they would contact either Kelsey here in York or call our administrative office in Fairbury, then we can connect them with that counselor. And then finally is our request for funding. Always leave that for last. We are requesting $11,388 from York County, which is a slight increase. It's about $392 more than we asked last year. How we do that is I took the request, our overall request from all of our 9 counties. We did a 5% increase just because of the increasing cost, and then we allocate that based on population per county. So that's how we come up with that number. We do, like I said, we use our county support to help us to cover those programs. Some of our programs do not cover the overall operating costs, so that's how we utilize those funds. Do you have any questions?
How did you come out in the state's biennial budget this year? 3% of your funding, or according to your pie chart, I assume that's last year's funding.
Yes.
$383,000. Do you know how you came out on the state level?
I would say it's the same. I don't think we've lost any of our state funding.
Okay.
So, actually in our weatherization program, so that's federal dollars that goes down through the state. We've received an increase last year, and that's for a 5-year funding period. However, we are starting to hear that there's a chance that weatherization funds may be cut, so I don't know if that will be reduced then. That was awarded to us, but I don't know if they'll reduce that amount.
Okay. Anybody have any questions this morning? And so it's kind of sad to listen, this much is going on around us.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, makes you thankful, obviously, for what you have, but we're also thankful that you're here to help. How did the Can Caravan do? I mean,
Very well.
Poundage wise.
Just over 8,000 pounds. And our goal was 5, so we shot that out of the water. Much thanks to the Stanley Green family.
You bet.
They busted it again this year, so a good portion of that was them. Both through money and through cans and food items.
So one of the larger needs that I'm hearing you ask, or that you could use, is that we don't think about, because when we're talking about canned caravan, I think people go down to the grocery store, they pick up the canned food items, but actual meat items.
And that's just mostly because it's the most expensive part.
Do you have a place to store it when you do
I
get
do,
it?
I've got multiple freezers.
We wrote a grant 2 years, a year ago, and it wasn't funded, but we were actually, what we put in the grant was that we would work with local butchers so that the funding would go in, we would purchase meat for our families through the butchers, but it did not get funded, but we'll try again if that opportunity
I was gonna
comes.
say, we have an excellent opportunity with the McLean's out here on South Edge of town, that there could be some, if anybody wanted to help, because obviously you get quite a bit from private too. So.
Our biggest meat donation usually comes from, state of Nebraska has a program called Hunters Helping the Hungry.
Oh, sure.
And so I work with a butchery in Ulysses that she donates usually in January, a pretty good chunk of ground deer meat, which not everybody will take, but honestly, I'm surprised that a majority will. I was a little worried that I'd have a hard time getting rid of it, but I've yet to have any issues getting rid of it in a timely fashion, but that helps a ton. But that usually, that's spread between our 9 counties, that doesn't last too long,
No,
but
sure not.
that's a pretty big help.
Anybody else? Well, the budget committee does have your request. Obviously, that was sent in. We truly appreciate that, I guess, and what you do.
The only thing is, if you have a copy of your budget, we've been asking that the budget committee get a copy of that with their request this year.
Okay, yeah, I can get that to you.
Perfect.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Have a great day. Okay, next up, and just a little bit behind time, Carmen. Good morning.
Good morning. How's everyone this morning?
Great, how are you? I did have an opportunity to talk to Carmen on the phone at the end of last week.
There's nobody here.
No,
Well, okay.
this is my
Okay.
stuff. I'm kind of spread out. And I'm sure she'll touch on that just a little bit this morning. I'm guessing she probably has
Yes,
a lot of that email rehearsed.
sadly. But yes, good morning. I see a couple new faces. So my name is Carmen Hinman. I am the Executive Director of Hope Crisis Center. I have a little bit of history with the agency. I have been with our program for 25 plus years. So I have a little bit of background and knowledge, and I'll let Kylie introduce herself.
I'm Kylie Trotman, so I'm the York and Fillmore County Victim Advocate, and I've been with Hope Crisis Center for 5 years.
So we are the local domestic violence sexual assault services provider within York County. We cover an additional 6 counties in kind of the southeast corner of Nebraska. So I will not cover every single page of the annual report, but we'll hit on some highlights. If you open to page number 2, I do want to draw attention to, and I will read it just because we are proud. We have recently adopted a new mission of our organization. So Hope Crisis Center is a nonprofit organization that advocates for safety, justice, and healing for those impacted by domestic and sexual violence. We are passionate about creating a future without violence by providing education and inspiring our communities to action. So the team to the right on page 3 is our team of 10. So we are super passionate. That mission really describes our team and what we do on a daily basis. We are small but mighty. We cover 7 counties. We operate 5 office locations, and we have a lot of history with our organization. One of our advocates has been with our agency now 16 years, and so we have a lot of staff that have had lots of years of service with our organization. So we're super proud of that and the work that we do. Moving on to page 4, I will just touch base really briefly on our program stats. Number of unduplicated victims was 616 last year. So what that means is one person, if I come in for services 20 times throughout the year or once, I'm only counted 1 time. So 616 unduplicated individuals that walk through our door. And we served 123 children. Number of minority adults, 86. Number of victims provided shelter, 47. Number of children provided shelter, 58. Total number of shelter nights, 1,271, and total number of hotline calls was over 4,100 calls. So I know that sometimes it appears like shelter numbers are low in comparison to the unduplicated individuals that we serve when shelter is one of our basic emergency services. But it's because we also ask if there's alternatives. Like shelter is obviously safety related, period. And a lot of people don't want to go into shelter. If you can imagine leaving your home and everything that you have and moving into shelter with very little, people don't want to do that if they don't have to. So that is really essentially for safety reasons. We work with people if that's a request for theirs, Again, that's an emergency service of ours. And as long as I'm director of this agency, that will be a priority for our organization because safety is number one. It's also important to share that when a victim leaves their home, that actually is the most dangerous time for them. So shelter isn't always the answer, much like a protection order. Lots of times victims don't want to pursue a protection order. Again, it's a safety thing. That's a piece of paper. They know their better or best, and it may not be safe for them to pursue a protection order. So our job as an advocacy agency is to listen to them, to hear what's going on, to assess, to help them safety plan, and to get them to the next steps. That may not mean tomorrow. Again, statistic-wise, a victim will leave their home or their batterer multiple times before they ever make that break for good. So our job is to understand and know the dynamics of domestic and sexual violence and to be there to support those individuals through that process. So again, that may look like we serve the same person 6 months out of 12, or they come back to us 4 different times and say, I feel stupid, I'm ashamed, I'm embarrassed. It's okay, that's what we do, and we're here to understand that because it's hard for family and friends to understand that. Bridges get burned often because it's a hard thing to swallow, and a lot of people don't want to talk about it. So that's our job, and we work really hard as a team to put things behind. I mean, we could get somebody into a place of their own, pay rent and deposit for them, and 3 months later, we learn that they've returned to the batterer, and we start the process all over again. And it's what we do, because if we're not there, there's not a lot of people sometimes there for them. And we talk a lot about that with the individuals that we serve, is that we're here, we understand, and obviously we're going to work through those next steps with them. So moving on to page 5, you can see the bilingual. We do have a bilingual advocate, and so those statistics are highlighted there. And then also, as I mentioned, sexual assault is one of our primary services as well. So we served 55 victims of sexual assault. 31 of them required medical advocacy, 4 went through the forensic exam process, and 19 Title IX campus services. So we also, York, obviously you are well aware, has a college. We have 5 college campuses throughout our service area. We are very involved in most 5 of our college campuses. And so again, working through Title IX with sexual assaults or anything that comes through forward on campus, in addition to just awareness and all of those things. You can see at the bottom of page 5, which a lot of times our county support dollars are utilized for. We did 28 home inspections. Financial housing assistance amounted to over $19,000 last year. Shelter, almost $46,000, which again, keep in mind, I said only 47 or whatever that number, 47 adults were sheltered, but our stays are longer. I think Blue Valley hit on this earlier before me. Housing is unbelievable right now. It's really hard to secure safe and affordable housing in a lot of our counties of service right now, which means shelter stays are longer if clients indeed are trying to relocate for safety reasons. COVID for us, obviously there was a really short shutdown time as far as clients reaching out for services, but then it was like literally come July, I think, of that year, it imploded for us. And to be quite honest with you, it has not slowed down for us. Our shelter stays have been really long, and that's what we are currently begging for money. We're writing foundation grants. We're doing everything we can to bring shelter dollars into our agency. Medical and mental health services, a little over 1,000. Food, of course, as everyone here knows, food prices have increased, and so that has had a large impact on us as well. Transportation, over $1,500. Laundry services, and then others, which can be vehicle repairs, over-the-counter medications, whatever they need while they're with us. So I know that I will be running out of time, and we'll want to hit on the budget questions a little bit as well. So I will just breeze through the next couple pages. On page 7, you can see training highlights. Training is important to us, ongoing training, so that again, our team is fresh, our team has the most knowledge that is up to date, etc., in order for us to serve individuals. And then moving on to page 8 and 9, it looks really overwhelming, but you can see, in addition to serving and being very, very busy with our client load, our team is incredible about also creating the most awareness that we can throughout a year, because we need people to know our services are available. They're accessible. This is a real thing, sadly, and we are here to serve. So we're active on college campuses. We're in our communities. We're doing everything that we can sometimes to get that awareness out there. And then moving on to page 10 is highlights our prevention education, which is also important, because if we're not out there doing the education, again, we're not stopping it from happening. So we're firm believers in having a presence in our school systems throughout our 7 counties so that we can be talking to youth. And I do have to say, and I also have a teenage daughter, so I can speak from personal experience as well, that with technology these days, our job has just increased tremendously, because the ability to harass, etc., through text messaging, through technology, etc., just ramps up the services that we provide for individuals. So prevention education is very important. We did 169 presentations last year to almost 3,000 youth and 466 adults. Trained CASA volunteers, ministerial groups, medical professionals, law enforcement, peer educators, RAs, and community groups. And then also, YouTube actually happened for us during COVID, because we were like, okay, we can't be in the schools. How can we continue to get the education out there? And so Mandy, who is our prevention educator and is amazing and talented, and has been with us over 10 years, she started developing YouTube videos for individuals to, and we did lots of social media regarding that, so that the teachers would know, that parents would know, and still hopefully work to be educating their children within the home setting. So that's pretty exciting for us. And then the last page, page 11, highlights a couple of our board members. Andrea Baker is our board chair, and then Ryan Bailey actually is an employee of Blue Valley Community Action, and she is our board treasurer. So a couple of board member highlights. And included in your packet of information in your annual report there is just a breakdown of our services, and then our funding, 22-23 funding, so current year funding, and then our ask for York County. And as Randy had mentioned, we did have a phone conversation. Obviously, I'm very dialed into the email that was communicated to the county clerks across the state, and I have taken the time to create a budget based on our request support for our agency. And so you can see that next page, what that might look like for York County. And again, I'm open to addressing any questions surrounding that. I'm also open to addressing more of a contractual agreement if we need to, or whatever that looks like. Again, I understand from auditor's perspective, and I am a rule follower and like to do things the way that they're supposed to be done. And so we desperately need our counties to continue supporting our agencies if there's any way possible. I am sad to report that if anybody is aware of the Victim of Crime Acts Fund, which is a federal pot of money, we got hit in the state of Nebraska tremendously this year, and so we have lost almost $100,000, and that's one of our major funding sources at this time. So for us, this circulation of email comes at a really scary time because I'm like, we can't afford to lose more money at this time. So we're really hoping that our counties can take a look at whatever that needs to be in order to hopefully still continue to support our program, because it's absolutely crucial and necessary, as you can see by some of the things that we've highlighted here. So can I address any questions, Kylie? I'm sorry, I kind of babbled because I didn't know if there would be budget questions. Do you want to, anything to?
And you've got time.
Okay.
I mean, if you
okay,
need to
good,
cover
okay,
some more stuff,
okay.
you've got time.
I also wanted, and Kylie can share, we recently moved office locations in York, so our location here in York, so I'll let you share about that too.
Sure. So we were co-located with the Child Advocacy Center, just west of Green Realty here in town. And so we have recently relocated. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Red Couch Counseling here in York. We are in the basement of that building. So we are, it's kind of been nice to do some referrals back and forth. But yeah, it's been great. Child Advocacy Center was a great location for us as well. I think what had happened there is they were granted some additional funding to have some medical stuff brought into their location here in Newark, which is really exciting for them. And the only way that that was going to work is to utilize the office space that I had, which was okay. I respect that. And so, but yes, it's been a great transition for us. And yeah, we love our new office space.
Yeah. So we were sad to move there just because, again, we had a partnership as well with Child Advocacy Center and referring back and forth, but it worked out well. We were happy to find great space, and landlord there has been amazing to work with and has treated us like it's our building as well. So that's been a great experience as well. So.
Okay, so as I'm looking at the budget or the funding sources, one of them that sticks out to me is state, $401,000, $401,479 from the state. The state auditor had seemed to insinuate that we couldn't be giving to charitable organizations. What is this state money then?
So that state money, so that, even though I said it, so VOCA is federal funds, but it funnels through our state. So in our budget, that actually is state dollars. So that is like our Victim of Crime Act dollars, our domestic violence, which are state dollars, and our FIPSA, which is Family Violence Prevention Service Act dollars. So that would be that combination of funds there.
Okay.
I will share with you that while we are getting VOCA cuts, if any of you are dialed in, I don't know how much, but we are going to be receiving an increase coming from the TANF dollars this year. However, that just passed and we don't know what that looks like at all. We don't know, we're assuming that that's going to be dispersed on a formula throughout our 20 programs across the state of Nebraska, but it is not going to cover our deficit of the $100,000 that we are losing. But we're hopeful, at least for a little bit, that's coming through there, but that's what that is. And then our private donations actually include our county support dollars. So our private donations are under our county support dollars, and then of course any private donors that come into our organization. So donations that we see throughout the year, fundraisers, things like that we do throughout the year. And then our federal funds are just that, like our rural domestic violence dollars are straight from federal source. And so that's a straight grant from the feds to our organization, so.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
Not necessarily questions, just that not everybody can do what you do, and it's good to have you around, so.
Thank you,
thanks.
appreciate that.
Well, like the people just in front of you, it's sad to hear we have people that are starving in poverty and then beaten, in our neighborhoods, in our county, in our towns, and obviously we need this service. And I have not had an opportunity, and Gary unfortunately had to sneak out of the room apparently just now, but to visit with Gary just a little bit, because even with the state, what they wrote down in their opinion, and as we talked about it, really talk to your county attorney to see if this is something that would need a contractual obligation, or the fact that we are referring people to you does that cover it?
Mhm.
So we'll have that conversation
Yeah.
with him going forward also.
Yeah, and as I mentioned to Randy on the phone, there's also been several county attorneys across the state that have weighed in on the communications. So I do have that information as well. And so far from those county attorneys that have been weighing in, it has been just that they see that we're providing the county a service, and that if the programs were gone, the county would have to obviously somehow figure out how to support those individuals in need, and figuring out what that looks like per county, just in order to I shouldn't say appease, but to meet the needs of the auditors as well. So, and like I told Randy on the phone, I'm happy to make that be as small or as large as you want. So if Kelly.
This time of year, we are lid limited at 2.5%. The board has the right to override that by 1%. It does take a supermajority of board members to agree to do that 1%. And once again, that is budget authority. That doesn't mean the budget's going up by that. It just means we would have that authority if we so needed it. And any questions, comments? It is one thing that, if we do decide not to do it and then do it next year, it has a ripple effect to it. It just doesn't affect just the 1 year that we say, no, we're going to be conservative. It affects down the road. And obviously I'm an advocate for it, because once again, it's the budget authority, not the budget itself. It gives us the authority. It doesn't mean we're going to spend it, but gives us that authority in the event something happens. I guess the one local entity that I would talk about would be our Ag Society, which is our fair board. Years ago, they was limited, and they had a very, very small budget, and they pay the price every year now, because they've only been able to raise it so much every year, and there's things they can and cannot do because of being restricted by that lid. But once again, it takes 4 of the 5 of us to agree to the override. So there we go.
See, last year, I think we did authorize it.
Oh, we did.
2 years ago, we did not.
Right.
I don't know, like you said, it doesn't just affect this year, it will affect as we go forward. Last year, we knew we were gonna have a big budget. This year, we'll probably have a big budget again. I don't know, I waffle back and forth on what to do with it. It is one place to stay conservative and not give ourselves that authority, but like you say, things do come up, and so it does put limitations on us and or future boards if it's not authorized. But on the other hand, it does keep government growing slower than giving us another 1%.
I knew this was on the agenda and I kept looking at it. Boy, and having gone through that same kind of authority business with the schools, I know, it penalizes you forever if you don't do it. The challenge is if we need it, somebody's got to pay for that. And as I'm driving in today, I'm looking out there and I'm seeing there's a guy that's got a quarter of ground that's not irrigated, and that corn yesterday afternoon just shriveling up. Where is that man, family, trust, whatever, where are they going to come up with an additional 1% for the county? I mean, however it would fraction out. And at the same time I say, or see, okay, we've got 100 employees, 200 employees, they are all going to need raises and, sustenance for their business and families too. It's just a rock and a hard place. How do you hold back the expenditures while at the same time making sure you have enough money to pay the bills that are gonna be there. But then looking out in the county and saying, okay, last year was hail, this year's drought, where's the money coming from, and with the ag community in particular. But if the ag community's down, the revenue community, I'm not gonna get my boots fixed if I don't have to, if I don't have the money to get it done. I mean, it affects everybody. This drought's a big deal right now. So I struggle with it. If I knew we weren't gonna spend it, I'd say, yeah, let's do it. But if we're gonna spend it, where's it come from?
But my question is, don't we still have a slush fund with I can't think of the word.
Inheritance?
Inheritance money.
Yeah.
So that we probably don't need the 1% or how does that work? Can we use inheritance money to make up for it if we do run into trouble or not?
We can. The inheritance money can be spent on whatever we deem it should be spent on. Yes, absolutely.
So that's kind of what I think, why we probably don't need this, because we have that inheritance fund to overcome that.
We do.
Currently.
I know, it's in peril.
Right. And the thing that we have to be careful about, last year we did supplement our budget with some inheritance tax. The thing that we have to be remembering, depending on, I mean, you can say one, you're supplementing it with this, or you're paying for this with inheritance, but the one thing that we have to worry about is, okay, if we put forth the inheritance to cover wages were mentioned, wages don't go down, and so then as we go forward, that is another, I mean, next year we have to figure out how to cover that again. And so I agree, we've got that money that is unrestricted. We just have to be cognizant of what we're applying that to, I guess.
I will not support taking the inheritance fund and putting it toward something that recurs year after year. It's like taking my savings account to make a house payment. Pretty soon my savings account's gone and my house payment's still looming.
Right.
I'm gonna lose my house.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, to do a one-time expenditure out of the inheritance fund, that's different than saying, okay, we're giving the 5%, well, we have room for 3, but we're gonna do 2% more. That 2% is gonna live there forever, and this inheritance fund is gonna go away. So I don't look at it that way. We just have to be judicious in terms of how we're gonna allocate that inheritance fund.
But I kind of think we ought to spend at least what the inheritance funds increases every year, each year, rather than let it grow.
Mm-hmm. And traditionally, we have probably about that much.
Right.
In the past, we've always purchased a motor grader with the inheritance funds.
Increase.
And so that would, there's been a few years, of course, that fund has probably increased more than the cost of a motor grader.
But generally it doesn't.
Right, yeah.
Well, it varies up and
varies,
down
yeah.
what we take in, depending on the sales and that, so. And as you pointed to just a little bit, Woody, this isn't the budget. The budget we have to work through yet. This is the budget authority. Gives us that authority to do that. And there could be a perfect little storm set up if we was to do more inheritance offsetting and no budget authority. And then some point in time down the road, we're gonna have to make that up with taxpayer dollars, and we're gonna be limited by what we can do. So I look at this, like I say, as the authority, and if we do our jobs with the budget, which is not an easy job to do because the budget requests are coming in and there's always a want, and it's up to us to decide what is truly want and what is truly need and go that route.
And every presentation we see, I mean, we just got done with another $1,000 increase or $3,000 increase. I mean, every program is gonna come in and say, we need more money. Well, we need more money, and their
Right.
revenues that are coming into them are shrinking, whether it's federal revenues or state revenues. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's facing a dollar crisis. How's it
Right.
answer all the questions that are out there?
Yes.
One,
That's what they get big bucks.
So right now, we can increase it by how much? What percent?
2.5.
2.5.
and then we do have an, what would be the right, anyway, we get a little bit more if our valuations grow.
Right.
If our valuation of the county grows larger than 2%, do we get all of the extra or a little bit of the extra?
We get a
I
little bit of
think?
the extra.
Yeah.
And then any projects that we utilize, like we did this year with our 2 box culverts as lit exemptions,
Right.
then we can use those as lit exemptions too. So there's obviously tools in the toolbox that we've used to help with that. But this will just be it. Well, we're not doing, no public comments. Thank you. So, what are we thinking?
This doesn't automatically raise our budget by 1%.
Just the authority.
It just gives the authority
Yes.
to. You're still on the budget committee and what you're working about is keeping it below the 2.5%, right?
Well, it'd be great if we could.
I'm saying, but
just
that's the
cost-
idea of it.
Right.
You're not gonna be able to, but
No, just the cost of everything is just still going up.
yeah, but
Yeah.
that's not just York County.
No,
Right.
no, it's not. Everybody sees it in their personal life and everything else.
Absolutely.
Right, and so, yeah, the, where I go, I mean, this, this is one way, like, if we don't authorize this, we are absolutely held to not be able to go over it. If we authorize it, it's real easy to say, well, we wanna hold it here, but we've got all these requests and prices are, everything's increasing. And so we have the authority, so we go ahead and do that. Now, traditionally, I think this board's been really good to do our best to keep it as low as we can.
Well, some counties actually use their inheritance tax to supplement their budget on a regular basis.
Right. Yep.
Well, as they've been talking about for the last few years, that may go away altogether. So what are they going to do?
Right.
Either spend less money or raise taxes.
Yep.
And if you don't have
give-
the budget authority, you can't
If
raise.
if you don't have the budget authority, you can't raise. Then you do less.
Right.
People want more, but they're going to get less.
Right.
Less rock on the road, less whatever. We have people come in front of us that have very legitimate purpose and asking for more money. But they're not getting it from one source, they're gonna get it from another. They've raised the tuition to college, just like that. Where's that money going to? Hiring more people?
The interesting thing is that they keep wanting more money for all the welfare things, yet we have people begging for employees. Something's not making sense.
Right. What's the 1% actually equal? Is it $300,000 increase in
I'm getting there.
1% or?
I'm getting there. It'll take a minute to load it from last year. I'll give you a figure.
Bill, you can't, right?
Come on.
You can't, like 1 penny, so much money.
It was often a penny or something, wasn't it? Bill always came up with.
I think sometimes he might have been a little off on his pennies, so I won't saying anything. This is a state site, so it's taken a little bit of time. Unless you remember it. I know. Neither do I should have had it pulled up beforehand. Maybe your computer's quicker.
Doubt it. It's only if I have it saved from last year.
Well, it's halfway there.
Here's a preliminary. Is this what you're going for?
Yep. Try to be down a few sheets. There should be a lid computation right in there.
Limit, computation limit.
There you go. So that, see that very well. There's a little bit better. So the 3.5% last year was 246,796 and 59 cents. That's what the number was last year. That's the 3.5%. Thank you, Daniel. And I think our tax asking last year was about $7.5 million.
Seems
roughly.
like it. Looks like it's pretty close. Total restricted funds for lid computation was 8.9.
So not to minimize it, it's not a huge, when we're talking about millions of dollars in our budget, it's not a huge amount of money. I've always looked at it, like I said earlier, as the ripple effect.
Mm-hmm.
Even though that's smaller now, 10 years down the road, that little bit that we took away from it right now is a much larger figure down the road. So, and it does take supermajority.
The reason I keep going back to, okay, maybe we should, is exactly the ripple. I mean, things are not gonna get cheaper. But then I go on the other side where if we don't give us the authority, then we can keep government small. I guess if we can, if we could come to a unanimous board feeling that it's good to give us the authority as a member of the budget committee, I would commit to doing all that I can to keeping it low for this year.
than I think that historically we have. You know, with the services rendered, with the services wanted throughout the county, we have. You know, I don't see, and that's where it does get frustrating when we see the governor or see the state say, you know, the counties, you know, all these political subdivisions have got to, you know, clean it up. And I'm sorry, I don't see the waste. I mean, I don't see.
Right, exactly.
You know, when stuff gets handed down to us, and we have unexpected, like, you know, this year we seen what we had to mop up in our transfer budget authority. There's things that do happen. Do we have a slush fund? Yes, we do. And I think we have that slush fund, that close to $6 million slush fund, because historically this board has been pretty conservative and not wanting just to throw it away and spend it on a lot of different things. So, and that's going to go away someday too. I mean, it just is.
Yep.
And then it'll be a lot different for the gentlemen and ladies that sit in these seats that doesn't have it. Well, I know that I typically don't make a lot of motions here. I wait for everybody else to do it, but I would make the motion that we would authorize the 1% budget authority for our budget year 2023 to 2024. We'll see where it goes.
Second.
Thank you, Jack. Is there any other discussion?
Do we, I mean, there's, a few of us here that are sitting kind of on the fence, if you will. So I don't know, I guess, I don't know if anybody wants to, I guess I've said that if we feel as a board and if we can come to a unanimous decision, I would vote for the motion and do all that I can to keep that budget in a reasonable place. I guess I'm looking to my other two colleagues that have expressed a little bit of concern or not, a little less willingness to authorize it. How do you feel you want to vote on this, I guess? Is my commitment to keeping the budget small, does that help or not really, or?
I was always taught try is a weasel word because it doesn't happen. You know?
Sure.
If I mean, I'm in the same position. I see the need to have the authority, but I also see the reality. When we left here last meeting, I walked out in the hallway and somebody was leaving the clerk's office or the treasurer's office. I said, well, how's it going? The guy said, it's uphill already. I've run my pivot 6 times. Well, I used to hear that 6 times was $600 to run pivot around. I don't know what it cost anymore, you know, but I guarantee he's run it a lot more than 6 times in the last 2 weeks. And so, and every time that gets run around, it shrinks the potential revenue of what that crop is going to bring. Yes, I want the budget authority to go up. No, I don't want to spend the money. It makes sense.
It does.
Makes sense.
Just.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Oakmeyer.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Ziegler.
No.
Bear.
No.
Gross.
No.
Okay.
That's not unanimous.
Well, it is. Okay, we are past the Board of Equalization start time, so we will recess now as the Board of Commissioners, and we will go to the Board of Equalization, and we need roll call, please.
Gross.
Present.
Bear.
Present.
Ziegler.
Present.
Sykes.
Present.
Oakmeyer.
Here. Okay. Open meetings law is posted on the south side of our chambers, is in the hallway outside of our chambers. It is also on our website. Proof of publication should have been the same date, June 22nd, in the News Times, along with our website. Review and approve the minutes of the June 13th Board of Equalization meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Brooks.
Yes.
Bear.
Yes.
Ziegler.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Yes, adopt today's agenda.
Move to adopt today's agenda.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Bear.
Here.
Ziegler.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Oakham.
Yes. Okay, first off, discuss an act on accepting a 3-year plan of assessment.
Yes,
Fire.
Bert Holgren, York County Assessor. This is, I think, do you all have an electronic copy of this? Okay, this is a report that the county assessor needs to prepare every year. We have to have it prepared by June 15th, presented to the Board of Equalization on or before July 31st. And then we have to send it also off to the property tax administrator by October 31st. We can amend this report after the budget's adopted. So my budget numbers I have in here is what I submitted to the budget committee. Should you, as a board, adopt a different budget, then I can go ahead and fix that before I send it off to the property tax administrator. I don't want to take a lot of your guys' time. You kind of see there, page 3, the statutory requirements. Let's see here. Other highlights are levels of value, which were okayed by the property tax administrator on page 5. That's for the different classes of the property in York County. Page 6 is where we kind of get into the resources of the assessor's office, staffing, budget requests that like I said, I submitted to the budget committee earlier I guess it was last month. What we use in the office for equipment, educational resources. On to page 7, we kind of get into the assessor's duties and responsibilities. These are different things over the course of the assessment year that the county assessor needs to do, reports they need to file. I think after looking at this, I left out the postcard. I'll call it LB 644 postcard. I think that's the common, people commonly refer to it. Some of those duties have kind of changed this year too. What little the legislature did this year, they did manage to make some changes there. So some of those duties are transferred from the clerk's office over to the assessor's office. Can't remember, I think it was just like reporting things to the assessor instead of right to the clerk. So, and then move on to page 8 and 9, kind of different programs, state programs the assessor's office administers. Homestead exemptions, permissive exemptions, different things the assessor works with. And then you get into page 10, the 3-year plan of assessment. You can read that there. This is kind of what I've looked at doing in the next 3 years as far as our inspections that we have to do. Every parcel has to be inspected at least once every 6 years. It was my predecessor's practice to do that at least once every 4 years, so you wouldn't have such gaps in time between inspections, which I kind of agree with her on that one as well. So we'll be doing those, try to do those once every 4 years. Throw a commercial in there every now and then also ag land use, we got to do that once every 6 years too, just to confirm that ag lands are being used as they were before. So, any questions?
Just a minor, occurs there typing error?
So there probably is.
Sentence structure in that first sentence of your conclusion.
There probably is.
Page 11.
I hate concluding things, so.
His is exceptional, is that extra is?
And his, yeah, there's an extra is. Appreciate it. But they are exceptionally skilled, so.
Okay, so on this then, we just have to adopt.
Just acknowledge it was a motion to acknowledge receipt is all I'm asking for, so that I can show that to the Department of Revenue if they ask for it.
Okay.
That this happened today, so.
There you go. Motion to acknowledge receipt of 3-year plan of assessment from York County Assessor.
Thank you, Daniel.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion or questions for Kurt?
Everything falling into place. It seems like the office is running smooth.
So far,
Yeah, good.
we'll see.
Okay.
Protests are still coming in yet, so we'll see by the end of the week. They're due the 30th, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, roll call, please.
Gross.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Ziegler.
Yes.
Bear.
Yes.
Oldsmar.
Yes. Okay, and we do have some protest hearing today.
What I'm passing out, are you ready, Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead, Kurt.
Okay, what I'm passing out is the 4 protests we're hearing today. They came in and visited with me, and we came to a conclusion on what their property should be assessed at. So the one document shows you what my recommendation is that the Board of Equalization do with those parcels. The second one that I'm handing you out, and you've seen that one before, that's the ag land values that we said earlier this year, or that I said earlier this year. Just so you kind of have an idea of how I got to them. You look in that yellow box on the bottom, there was that median of 68%. That's where it was before any changes. You look to the right of there, the acceptable range of value, it needs to be 69 to 75%. So that clearly wasn't going to comply with the with that Turk. And so then we had to do some calculating. We got the median to 71%. So, and it's one of those things where I would have left it at 68%. Turk would have said, Boldrin, you're going to raise it to this.
Gotcha.
They usually go right in half. So, but when I show that to landowners and they come in, they understand what we had to do there. So, believe me, I'm not the guy that wanted to raise values my first year in office. So. But anyways, if you want to go ahead and we can get started with protest number 2, Chad Tessman. That is the parcel number is 930026373. Would you like a legal description on that one as well?
Yeah, we can go ahead and read that in there.
It's the north 100 feet of lot 1, east 12 feet of lot 8, block 38, Cheney's Addition, City of York. This is a home that I believe we removed an obsolescence from it. He came in and visited with us, showed us that it was not livable on the inside of it. It was gutted. There's work going on inside of it, so it's a rental home that he owns. So after visiting with him, we agreed to keep the land the same, lower the value of the building to $20,064, so I have a total valuation of $29,640. And that's my recommendation.
Okay, and he had requested a different figure, but you came up with one.
After plugging it in our CAMA system, that's what we came up with.
Okay.
So
Perfect. And we'll take these one at a time then.
He was fine with it then?
He was fine with it, yeah. All these protests today, thanks for asking, these protests we're hearing today, these are all agreements that I made with them, so, or recommendations that I would
Go
bring.
forward with this number from all 4 of the protesters.
Well, on the sheet, there's a number for each
Right.
protest, so yeah, those are all been talked to with the taxpayer, so.
Could be just a slightly lower than
Right.
22.
So on this one, like say, they come to an agreement, that's the assessor's a recommendation. So then we would just need a motion to accept that protest. Or motion to accept that.
So you're looking for a motion to accept this
Yeah, the assessor.
recommendation from the
Yes.
assessor for
Yes.
protest number 2.
Theoretically, the assessor's done at this point in the assessment process because the values have been set, abstract's been set in. So this protest isn't really with the assessor, it's with the Board of Equalization.
So we're saying we make a motion to approve
This document.
Right, and then typically the assessor just kind of does the footwork for the Board of Equalization. It's been the practice in the past. So
Right.
when it goes beyond this, if these are ever appealed, that's when we get the county attorney's office involved. So,
But we can accept your recommendation.
as you always should.
As a, your motion can be made to accept the protest number 2, accept the recommendation of the assessor. And that should be all right. Okay, thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Ziegler.
Yes.
Bear.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
And Overmeyer.
Yes. All right, we're going to number 4.
Number 4, Ben Cole. This is the building behind, it's Lot 1, Block 2, Broadwell subdivision, City of York. It's the building behind the dealership. I think maybe it was an quick oil change, car wash, bay type place. He called, said that has minimal utilities to it, maybe only electricity, no heat, no water in there. And so then we came up with what I have on the sheet there, land the same at 85,800, building, change that to 182,273 for a total of 268,73. And that would be my recommendation to the Board of Equalization.
Motion to approve the protest number 4, Ben Cole, by the county assessor.
Thank you, Jack.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Sykes.
Yes.
Ziegler.
Yes.
Bear.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
And Overmeyer.
Yes. And on to number 11.
All right, this is Jeffrey Lacey Loystein, the west 40 feet of Lot 7, south 40 feet of Lot 8, and all of Lot 9, Reason Second Subdivision, City of Henderson. When looking at their property, we had put in there, we had an extra bathroom on our record card that they didn't have, and then also there's condition and grade. The grade of the house was probably a little bit too high for that style of home, so I agreed with them, yeah, it probably should come down. And so that's what, when we get the land the same, the building will change to 249,691 for a total of 264,038. That's my recommendation.
Thank you.
Motion to accept the recommendation of the York County Assessor for protest number 11.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Gross.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Ziegler.
Yes.
Bear.
Yes.
And Overmeyer.
Yes. And the last one, number 13.
Okay, the last one, Barbara Smetter, Lot 7 and 7 feet of the vacated alley, adjacent Block 2, Robson Addition, Village of Waco. This again was one where the grade was way too high for this style of house. Typically this is a ranch style home. On the ranch style homes, when you start out with those, your condition's normal and you have a grade of 4, which is like your middle of the road. And then you just kind of go up or down from there, depending on the condition or the architectural style of the home. The grade can go up. So, but yeah, your home like that, while it's a nice home, had a grade that was a little too high for it. So, I want to make sure they're, like you said in past meetings, want to make sure everything's equal and fair across the county in that regard. So my recommendation would be the land stay the same at 10,700. Change the building to 142,545 for a total valuation of 123,249.
I move to accept the recommendation by the county assessor for protest number 13.
Do we have a second?
Ziegler.
Thank you. Okay. Any other discussion?
This one I just did have a question. So this one's a bit of a drop from 2022. Is that just mostly based on condition of what the?
Yeah, not so much the condition, it was the grade of the home.
Okay.
It was it was graded at a 3+5. And it should be graded at a 4. So that was just that change in the grade. That's all I changed on that and came up with that number. So.
And then, based on the sales, fairly recent, we're a little bit under that, but how much weight should be put on that? Is it more,
Let's say it's a work in progress.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
sure.
just from one assessor to the next, looking at some of these properties and then putting the sales numbers in there too, in addition to that. I think your first step is you want to make sure these are assessed with how you feel should be properly assessed. So, but sales do come into play, certainly do, on all sorts of parcels, so.
Right.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Bear.
Yes.
Ziegler.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
And Overbaugh.
Yes. Okay, Kurt, as we move forward and we go to, what's gonna be the protest hearings in July, we're accepting those till the end of the month?
Yep, we take the June 30th as the last day to file a protest with the county clerk. Clerk's office has been really good to send them over my office so we can sit down and talk about it first. Sometimes it's just, we have mistakes on our cards, so we gotta get them fixed. And that's another report that we're gonna be taking care of, an over and under value report at the next Board of Equalization meeting. It's another method of making some of these changes in the current assessment year. If there's been a clerical error, if there's been things that have been off the property that you can tell shouldn't be on there, should have been removed, we can make those changes on that report. So it's just, instead of going through each parcel, we just approve the one Excel document that has all of that on there. So that'll be at the next meeting.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we're up to 14 protests, I think, as of this morning. And I anticipate probably at least a dozen more coming in. There was a commercial reevaluation done last year, and those numbers got entered in this year. And there was, anyone that has commercial property knows what they did. Some went up about 30%. Some hadn't gone up in value in the last 3 or 4 years either. So there's that too. So our commercial appraiser, we're setting up a time for them to come in to visit with the taxpayers that have concerns about that and see if, again, we can come to some sort of agreement on some of those. He says he doesn't want to be right. He just wants to make sure it is correct. It's his main concern. So we'll know more on the 11th on that one.
Okay. Well, what I'd ask then too would be if there is that type of number, if there is 14 to 30, who knows what it will be, that as soon as you get that information, even if it's prior to our packet, coming to us, the Friday before, that we get that out so we can, because those are quite a few to review.
Oh, sure.
Versus just 4.
No, I would agree. That'd be awesome.
So if we could have more time on that, the sooner the better.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, anything else today?
Like I said, the protest deadline is this Friday.
Right.
Deadline for filing your homestead exemptions is this Friday at 5 o'clock. We'll have it over and under value at the next Board of Equalization meeting, the rest of the protests.
And that meeting will be in the afternoon too, so you guys I need to talk to the safety committee because they have this planned at 1:30, so I'll have to change that.
So, other than that, we continue our inspections for the 2024 assessment year. So always working ahead. There was a TURP case that was approved for Yorktown Estates that came in, that we met with them and we came to a conclusion on that as well. So I'll probably present those as tax list corrections at the next meeting too. So those are for tax years 21 and 22. Other than that,
thank you.
All I have.
Okay, we will.
A little leery about joining you after your last discussion.
All right. We will adjourn as a Board of
For advice,
Equalization.
let me know.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
We will adjourn as a Board of Equalization and go back up to Board of Commissioners. We do have another item, discuss and act on revised agreement with Everbridge. I do not have the email that Gary had sent, explaining that. Gary was here and then took off. Did you have that? There was a mistake on what we signed, not a mistake by us, but on the agreement the last time.
Do you want the agreement or you want the email?
The email, didn't he explain that? Is yours?
I think I've got it.
Yours? Because I know he sent it to my .gov and I did not have that on this computer.
But it's my turn to be slow.
Yeah, well, I won't beat you. So he was supposed to, and maybe he brought it back because Seward County was going to sign it again today, and then it would be up to us.
The dates. So the email states that below is the to the revised agreement with Everbridge to specify the dates of the contractual period that was omitted the first time, and added wording so that it replaces the previous agreement. So from what I remember, the original agreement that we authorized last time didn't have any dates, and so it would have gone off of the date that it was signed, and we had requested that this start at the end of our Nixle contract.
Right.
And so they added in those dates to reflect that time period rather than just the dates that the agreement was signed.
And like I say, Seward County was going to sign it this morning prior to, and obviously Gary was around, so I'll have something to sign, but this would be authorized to sign the revised agreement with Everbridge. No money, no dollar signs changed, it was just the, that date. Dates are
I so move.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Gross.
Yes.
Ziegler.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Bear. And Owen.
Yes. Okay, we are left with committee reports. Who would like to start?
So after our last meeting, had an opportunity to have lunch with all of the roads crew. Had a retirement of one of the motor graders, so they had the whole team come in, and so it's good to get in on that and get to see the guys and thank them for what they do. And Harvey had a little safety meeting with them all, so that was nice to get in on all of that. Attended SEND board meeting. That was also that same week, mostly budget discussions. It is interesting how quick nonprofit boards are to just approve budgets without going over any of the questions. That always surprises me, but we did approve a budget. YCDC, we heard from them. I was at the exec meeting last week, going over most of that discussion was the housing grant that she mentioned, the $1 million for development here, and getting that all moving forward. So hopefully that can continue to move forward. We already discussed the meeting that we had regarding zoning, and the tech committee. We do not have a current meeting scheduled, but we need to get one scheduled. So there's plenty that we need to talk about regarding the website is being redeveloped and should be online hopefully mid-July. But more so, I think we need to sit down and really talk about what the future means for the courthouse regarding internet and phones. In the last month, we've had 2 major outages, and we need to have a better disaster plan, if you will, and review whether or not we were with the right provider. So I think we need to have that discussion soon. That concludes
That good?
what I have to share at this moment.
Okay. Stan, you
I
got
met
that?
with Harvey this morning and nothing unusual happened there. Had a great time. We just keep telling him he's doing a great job because it's not raining and not messing up the roads too bad, and he's getting his projects done. So he just gets a lot of condolences and cheers, and he smiles. So that works out pretty well. And then I'm on the Blue Valley Committee, and they asked me to email them if I was going to come to the meeting or do Zoom meeting, and I said I will Zoom. They never responded. I emailed them 3 times. They never responded, so I did not get the code to Zoom, so I just missed the meeting. And then they called me, and I talked to Heather, and she asked me to email her again, her and Sherry, and I did. Still didn't get a response, so there was a problem. They're working on a problem. Something's not happening. Because I've emailed other people that I didn't know before during this time period. They've gone through, they responded to me. For some reason, my emails are not going through to them, so they're not responding back to me. So we're on phone conversations now. Heather and I are talking on the phone. We're gonna get it straightened out. So I'm sorry, but I missed that.
Got everything?
That's it.
Either one?
I spent some time with Kelly just talking about our election process. Interest in paper and pencil versus machines. Spent almost 2 hours online with Colonel Sean Smith, who's been involved with cybersecurity questions, and looked at that. And I re-listened to the recording I made of Wayne Benna's presentation at NACO and his discussion of the machines and stuff. So at some point, I think it's appropriate to have a conversation that would go that direction, and whether Wayne would want to come out and talk or have Sean and Kelly and just look at that. But I've spent quite a bit of time doing that. Otherwise, I've been kind of busy personally. Went to Chicago for a meeting, went to Denver for a family celebration, and back here. Was down at Milligan Days for a minute too. So anyway, no rest for the wicked, I qualify.
Well, after our board meeting on the 13th, we did have a annual meeting and a supper out at Alta Center for Blue Valley. Blue Valley on the head right now. Anyway, for Four Corners, and it was well received. I went out a little early because I wrote it down early, and the only person I met out there was Mr. Ziegler. He didn't come out there for the Four Corners meeting. He came out to talk to Mr. Reimers, is that his name?
Right.
At the, I believe at the library was going on at about the same time, so he left. I didn't get to see him out there, other than just a greeting. So it was a good meeting. The annual meeting has talked about the renovation of the building out up north there, and the speakers were actually members of the board and past members. So that's what it was. And Melanie made a very good supper for everybody. I think everybody ate plenty. And I have a question for Melanie. Are you still the editor of the York Daily?
No.
Well, I got an email here about the coverage change. And it's signed off, sincerely, Melanie Wilkers, editor. I just wondered if you were, you know, double dipping into the
No.
till over there.
No, not me.
So, anyway, it was a good meal, Melanie.
Thank you.
That's all I had.
That's all you got?
I guess I could add, I did go out to the, well, I went out there because I wrote it down wrong, that it was at Corners. So I did catch up with Mr. Reimers at the at the library and had a discussion with him to follow up with the discussion we had at our last meeting. And I was on the phone with him yesterday, talking about Adrian Smith and some representation. And then, and I talked to Lisa Hurley about the housing project that has been approved for here, and followed up on a comment from somebody, a representative from the Waco community and all. So, yeah.
Okay. Had visitors last time. Last week, we worked on budget. We worked on budget a little bit last week, Daniel, myself, and Kelly and Megan did, which we'll be really getting into here directly. We did get notice from 2 entities. They're up in some for public hearings. There we go. We've got one from Village of Bradshaw, substandard blighted area, has to do with TIF. So I do have those here, and also with the City of York. I've got a couple letters that were registered, certified mail to us about that. So that is going on. The one meeting in Bradshaw is July 13th at 7 p.m. and the meeting in York, I believe there was 2 meetings in York. August 3rd at 5:30 p.m. and I don't see the other time frame, but City Planning Commission is going to have a meeting July 11th. So I have those here if you guys want to look at those and review those. I did also have a meeting yesterday, a brief meeting with the Extension Office, and you should have gotten 2 attachments emailed to you. One is an interlocal agreement that was signed back in 1997. They're going across the state of Nebraska and getting all these updated. They should be updated way more often than that. The other one is what they would like us in the near future to get that on there. They will come in front of us at that point in time. They also pitched the idea a little bit. Currently, Tanya, which is the extension agent, is a university employee. And then we employ the others that are in the extension office and provide them, their building and their budget. At one point in time, they had asked this board several years ago about making the assistant university, employee also, and then we reimburse the university for that. So they will probably bring up that again in the future too. I mean, there's some pluses and negatives. At that time, this board took the stance that we felt like we was losing control by not employing this person ourselves. But I don't know how. I mean, we don't really do much control up there anyway. So they will present that, like I say, in the near future. Chris, I believe, has a copy of this, and the reason he has a copy of it is because Polk County was going to approve it today at their meeting, and so we'll make sure that we have those copies of what was and what they want, and have you guys review it first. Like I say, I know Chris, according to them, reviewed the same document they gave me, so we'll have that conversation. Other than that, just normal day-to-day stuff. You did get also a list, I believe. I asked the chamber office to present us a list. It seems like, whether there's confusion on my part or not, but the courthouse property gets used for different things throughout the year. And this Friday, there will be a band on the courthouse property. And I just think it's right that the commissioners know what's going on. So that list was presented via email, and of the different events.
5 events. Yeah.
This event is undoubtedly going to be the possibly the bigger one. I think it's a 49-piece band that's coming, and so that will take place Friday. I think after 5 or 5:30, because they're going to take up some parking for there's a big bus coming in and stuff like that. So that's going on. We just want to make sure, even though it's already dry, we want to make sure that it's really dry, because they're going to be sitting in chairs out on the lawn, and we do have an irrigated yard. So we want to make sure that I wanted you guys to know what's all taking place that way. Did we have anything else?
Did we do the fee reports?
No, that's just presented.
Just
Yeah.
information.
And I
Yep.
did add the sheriffs to that yesterday, so if you want to look at theirs.
So we don't have any action on it, it's just awareness. Okay.
And then you have this from Megan, it's an FYI for you guys to. Just for your,
Okay, just for information.
Yeah.
A list of delinquent taxes. Okay, you guys can look at this too.
As long as Ziegler's not on there.
There's only, looks like 6 parcels, so not too bad. With not a huge accumulated value, which is not too bad either. Anything else? Okay, we'll stand adjourned.